New reports indicate that Iran has carried out a long-range missile operation targeting a joint United States, United Kingdom military installation in the Indian Ocean. According to details reported by the Wall Street Journal, 2 ballistic missiles were launched in the direction of the strategically significant base located on Diego Garcia, a remote island that has served as a key hub for Western military operations for decades. However, early information suggests that the attack did not result in a direct hit on the facility. Officials familiar with the situation say that one of the missiles failed before reaching its target, breaking apart mid-flight. The second missile triggered a defensive response. A U.S. naval vessel in the region reportedly launched an interceptor missile, identified as an SM-3, in an attempt to neutralize the threat. At this stage, it remains unclear whether the interceptor successfully destroyed the incoming missile, or whether the missile failed on its own before impact. What is clear, however, is that the base itself was not struck. The intended target, Diego Garcia, is not just any military installation. Located in the Indian Ocean, the island forms part of the Chagos archipelago and has long served as a critical base for US and UK military operations, particularly in the Middle East and surrounding regions. The facility has been used for decades to support air and naval missions, including long-range bomber deployments, surveillance operations, and logistical coordination. Its strategic location makes it a powerful asset, and potentially a high-value target in any expanding conflict. What makes this incident particularly significant is the reported range of the attack. Diego Garcia lies approximately 4,000 kilometers from Iran, far beyond the previously stated operational range of Iran's ballistic missile program. In earlier statements, Iranian officials, including Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, had indicated that Iran's missile capabilities were limited to around 2,000 kilometers. If confirmed, this latest strike attempt could signal a major shift, either in capability, strategy, or both. In Washington, the development has added another layer of tension to an already volatile situation. U.S. President Donald Trump responded by criticizing the United Kingdom's handling of military cooperation in the region. Trump expressed frustration over what he described as delays in allowing U.S. forces to fully utilize British-controlled bases for operations related to Iran. Speaking at the White House, he suggested that hesitation from UK leadership may have complicated efforts to respond more decisively to emerging threats. On the British side, Prime Minister Keir Starmer convened government officials to assess the situation. According to statements from his office, discussions focused on multiple concerns, including Iran's recent actions in the Strait of Hormuz, its reported targeting of commercial shipping, and threats to critical infrastructure such as oil and gas facilities. British officials emphasized that their agreement with the United States includes defensive cooperation, particularly efforts aimed at countering missile threats and protecting vital shipping routes. They also reiterated that any use of UK bases by US forces falls under the broader goal of collective self-defense in the region. The situation is further complicated by rising tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important oil transit routes. Iran has been accused of attempting to disrupt maritime traffic in the area, including actions targeting unarmed commercial vessels. Any sustained disruption in this region could have immediate global consequences, especially for energy markets and international trade. This adds urgency to the ongoing military and diplomatic responses from Western powers. The attack has also brought renewed attention to the political and historical status of Diego Garcia. The island is part of the Chagos archipelago, a territory with a complex and controversial past. Decades ago, the native population of the islands, known as the Chagosians, were forcibly removed to make way for the establishment of the military base. More recently, there have been ongoing discussions about transferring sovereignty of the islands to Mauritius, a former British colony. This proposed arrangement has faced criticism, particularly from the United States, due to concerns over maintaining secure military access to the base. President Trump has previously voiced strong opposition to any deal that could affect U.S. operational control in the area, describing such moves as potentially harmful to Western strategic interests. Iran has defended its actions as part of its broader right to self-defense. In public statements, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi argued that Western military operations, particularly those involving the United States and Israel, have placed increasing pressure on Iran. He also suggested that the United Kingdom's involvement, including allowing its bases to be used for military operations, could further escalate tensions and put British interests at risk. In a message shared publicly, Arachi claimed that many people in the United Kingdom do not support involvement in the conflict and warned that continued cooperation with U.S. military actions could have consequences. This attempted strike represents a significant moment in the ongoing conflict. Even though the missiles did not hit their target, the message behind the action is clear. The scope of the conflict may be expanding beyond its original boundaries. The ability, or willingness, to target locations as far away as the Indian Ocean suggests that this is no longer a localized confrontation. Instead, it is evolving into a broader geopolitical struggle with global implications. If tensions continue to rise, several risks come into focus. Increased military engagement between Iran and Western forces, disruption of global energy supplies, expansion of conflict zones beyond the Middle East, greater involvement from additional international actors. Each of these factors raises the stakes, not just for the countries directly involved but for the global community as a whole. For now, the situation remains fluid. No direct damage has been confirmed at the base, and officials are still assessing the full scope and intent of the missile launch. But one thing is certain: the lines are shifting and the risk of further escalation is growing.